Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 8 edition of the Wilkes Journal-Patriot's High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks and produced by RiverStreet Productions. I'm sports editor Zach Colburn, and assistant sports editor Brandon Murray will be joining us in just a second to take a closer look at this week's games. Hurricane Matthew postponed 3 of the 4 football games that were supposed to be played on Friday night, hence the reason why we're coming to you on Tuesday, since those 3 games got played on Monday night. But it was a fantastic week. All 4 Wilkes County teams picked up wins for the second straight week. Brandon has more of those games over at the big board.
All right, before we get to the highlights, let's take a look at this beautiful piece of hardware right here. This is an Anthem 3 mountain bike. You can pick one of these up at Cooks. If you spend more than $250 down there, they'll give you a $25 gift card. And if you spend $500, they'll make it a $50 gift card. So be sure to check out all the bikes and kayaks they have down there at Cooks. All right, let's get to those highlights. Now, the game of the week this week is the only game that wasn't a blowout, as West Wilkes slid past Ashe County 45-35. It's the first time the Blackhawks have knocked off the Huskies since 2012. The first quarter was absolutely insane. Both teams scored 3 times. The Blackhawks ended up leading 21-19 at the end of the quarter. You just saw Dante Schuler's 71-yard touchdown pass from Colin Ellis, but the Blackhawks had an answer. You're going to see Jared Serbeck find the end zone there on a 48-yard touchdown pass from Trenton Walsh. That was his first touchdown pass of the season and Walsh's 3rd touchdown pass. Alex Ortiz scored there in the end. That was the 6th touchdown of the first quarter. That was the final play that he had 3 touchdowns on the night. Noah Dancy had a monster game. He had a big game last week, had 175 yards last week, had 174 more this week. That was his own touchdown run right there from 28 yards out. Trenton Walsh made a great pitch there. He made great reads all night in the option. He was key to the Blackhawks win as they picked up a big conference win, now 2-1 in the end back. Noah Dancy had 26 carries for that 174 yards. Like I said, Ortiz scored 3 times on 98 yards. Trenton Walsh went 2 for 4 for 62 yards and a touchdown. He also had 37 rushing yards on 8 carries. All right, let's move on now. We're taking a look at the East Wilkes-Elkin game, what we like to call the Yadkin River rivalry. We don't have any highlights, unfortunately, but we do have some stats for you. Bryce Vestal went 10 for 16 for 171 yards and a touchdown. That's his 3rd game in a row of more than 100 passing yards. He also had 60 yards and a rushing touchdown on 10 carries. David Couch had 106 yards, on 6 carries and a catch for 8. And Damian Reed had 8 carries for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. There were a whole bunch of guys that got in the end zone and had great nights. We don't have all those stats for you here, but be sure to check out WilkesJournalPatriot.com/sports and Wednesday's edition of the Journal-Patriot. We'll have all that for you and a bunch more. All right, let's move on. Let's take a look at the North Wilkes and Allegheny game. Again, no highlights. Sorry about that. Maybe next week, but we do have the stats. Jared Grimes had another monster game. He's having an unbelievable year. He's already over 1,500 yards. This week on Monday night, he had 299 on 27 carries and 5 touchdowns. That's his most yards in a game this season and his most touchdowns in a game this season, but it's his fewest carries. So that's his most efficient game so far this year. Haven Weinberger also had a great night. He went over 100 yards for the first time this season as well. Ethan Brown still filling in for the injured Daniel Pruitt. He went 3 for 4 for 30 yards passing. He also found the end zone on the ground with 3 carries and 20 yards as the Vikings knocked off Allegheny 49-7. Big win for the Vikings. All right, we do have highlights from the one Friday night game. Zach was out in Booneville to see Wilkes Central take care of Starmount. Justin Parsons, he's having a phenomenal year. We talk about him every week. I feel like we're talking about him again now because he had 5 touchdowns. He's over 1,300 yards for the season already. He had 280 yards on Friday night. That feels weird. Most of the games are Monday, but that was Friday night. A little bit soggy out there in Booneville, but apparently it wasn't raining when he scored there. So big win for the Eagles as they move to 3-0 in the conference, and Jack Previtt's going to put the final touches there on the Eagles' lead. Starmount would find the end zone in the 4th quarter, but it was too little too late. Parsons, 14 carries for that 280 yards. Very efficient. He's actually averaging 9 yards a carry this year, which is phenomenal considering how many times he touches the ball. He's also getting a touchdown every 8 touches, which is also crazy. Camden Wyatt went 9 for 13 for 123 yards and a touchdown. He also had 22 rushing yards on 5 carries. Josiah Ferguson had 6 of those catches for 66 yards. All right, I think we hit all the highlights there in Wilkes County's Week 8. Let's send it back to Zach.
Thanks, Brandon. This coming Friday, East Wilkes and West Wilkes will hit the road as they travel to Ashe County and Elkin, respectively, while North Wilkes and Wilkes Central will be back in Wilkes County as they'll host Starmount and Allegheny, respectively. But before we go, we want to send you off with the Play of the Week presented by RiverStreet Productions. Brandon, let's see it.
All right, we're going to go back to Boonville where we're going to see Terry Calhoun let the ball take a bounce on the punt, and then he is going to bob and weave all the way through traffic. Nobody's going to get a good look at him. I think all 11 guys might have missed him on that play. He's going to break it off for 60 yards as the Eagles improve to 3-0, still atop the conference standings. All right, Zach, send us on.
Okay, this has been the Week 8 edition of the Wilkes Journal-Patriots High School Football Rundown presented by Cooks. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WJP_sports, and we'll see you on Friday night.